Ms. Frizzle. I've made 3 videos on her at this point attempting to uncover the fact that she's a terrible person and a murderer. So I've decided to make one last video on this. This time, I will be making up theories and looking over things to draw conclusions. So at the end of my last video, I kind of hinted at a theory about how Ms. Frizzle might be setting up some huge fake thing, where everyone is in on it. It's a bit of a far-fetched theory, but there is some authenticity in it that could make sense. These people are usually calling the magic school bus at the end. So did Ms. Frizzle form this whole thing? If so, this could all line up and connect. The reason she is this way is likely because she's a witch who went insane. Not a Death Eater. That was a joke. But maybe she was able to use her power to possess every human on the planet to follow her live plan and attempt to murder the children. But nothing is working. Yet, if everyone is under her control, she can make it so they play along with her in a clever way to make these 10 specific children victims. And at this point, they could already be dead. So, how does this fit into the theory? Well, as you know, I theorized that Ms. Frizzle is making closer and closer calls to the children's death. This could be her clever tactic at manipulating them into trusting her. There's also a lot of proof that she's a witch, such as the predictions on her dress, her literal frickin' magic school bus, and this whole Tumblr post explaining everything. You can see that in my first video. She also could get so many years in jail, but she can't. We also proved she has done so many terrible things just across one season. It makes sense that she'd make people almost like her puppets to kill these children. But why? Why does she want to do this? Well, although we can't know for sure, we can make some theories. So I asked you guys on my community tab if you have any Ms. Frizzle theories. Most were obviously jokes, but I couldn't help but consider a couple of them. One was that she gives the children drugs. This one is less likely, but their behavior could line up. Another one is that Ms. Frizzle has schizophrenia, and is imagining this all. Now this one could work in a way, but that would completely change the theory, which wouldn't work. Another thing is that Ms. Frizzle might be the next villain of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, Ms. Frizzle is the most powerful being alive and could totally try and take over the world by opening other dimensions or whatever. So most of the theories in here are just jokes. Like guys, we're trying to prove that Ms. Frizzle is a murderer here. We need to take this seriously. But now that we've gotten some of the theories out of the way, let's try and piece this thing together. So at the end of my last video, I basically explained that the skeleton could be a dead child that Ms. Frizzle kept alive, I guess. But I dismissed the theory for being too vague and out of the box. But now I'm starting to take that into consideration a bit. Like, could that be possible? Did Ms. Frizzle have another class before this? Probably not. So I guess Ms. Frizzle is just a widow with an alive skeleton. Makes sense. But now for the pet lizard, Liz. It's obviously not weird to own a lizard. I have one too. But it's just the fact that she carries it everywhere. And it's really frickin' smart. I don't know why it'd be that way. but it might be Miss Frizzle's magic or something. So I don't think that part's very important. And I think I'd finally have a firm grasp on what's going on here, if it weren't for Arnold. Arnold frickin' Pearlstein. Now I wasn't too interested in the Arnold part of the story, because I felt that wasn't really that important. But I then started to think, why is there so much emphasis on Arnold? I mean, he's practically the main character. I generally think that he's being tortured and is Miss Frizzle's main target for some reason. But taking things into consideration, I made up another theory that's probably a bit far-fetched, but here it is. Miss Frizzle looks sort of like Arnold. So, Arnold's a murderer too. That's right. I don't know why, but I feel like they're related in some sort of way. The reason there's so much emphasis on him is because he's important. He's one of the masterminds behind this horrible thing. Now obviously, this probably isn't true, but I couldn't help but think it. So I think I'm going with her targeting Arnold for some reason. Maybe he'll be the first one to go. But with that being said, let's review. Miss Frizzle is a magical being who wants to murder 9 children for one reason or another, and is trying to manipulate them through making closer and closer calls, to the point where the children will trust her whenever their death really does come. They were likely brainwashed, due to how idiotic they are. She uses a magic school bus for this master plan, and would get thousands of years in prison, but she warped everyone's mind to follow her every command. The kids just think they're famous for some reason, even though the people just want more info. Heck, this is probably being broadcasted to the world or something, and this is all to get those kids slayed. But for extra measure, Miss Frizzle made her sister take over from suspicious activity. Maybe the whole thing went wrong, and everyone betrayed her, so she's leaving Fiona Frizzle to do the killing, while the parents think that their kids are going to normal school, and Miss Frizzle is on the run. So what do I think of all this? Well, there's a lot of proof for it, such as her starving them, several instances where she actually could have killed them, and so many things that I can't even remember. The proof's all right there. So guys, I think we've done it. We have officially proved that Miss Valerie Frizzle is a heartless murderer. Thank you for joining me on my investigations. If you have any more things to add, please write them in the comments. Even through the span of half the series, there's enough proof that Miss Frizzle is in fact a murderer. I hope I ruined your childhood, and goodbye.